Okay, another YouTube video. It's your boy Uriah G, and today we're going to react to Drew McIntyre Deserves Better. Let's get right into the video.
Are you really the last person to find out about this?
Go with these ads, but it's okay.
Growing sentiment online by wrestling fans that I definitely agree with. And this is why Drew McIntyre deserves better in WWE.
A little nice collection in the background. You got some Hardy Boys stuff, Mustafa Ali, some Funko Pops.
Now look, in an era of wrestling fans complain if their favorites don't win 24/7, I'm not always inclined to agree with fans just being in an uproar because their favorite didn't win. Perfect example, so many people were upset that John Cena did not win the Royal Rumble. I thought John Cena was going to win the Royal Rumble. I booked John Cena to win the Royal Rumble. He didn't. I still thought that Jey Uso was a great pick.
Yes, it's really interesting that they, booked Jey to win. Because I really wasn't wanting John to win the Rumble. So
I think this Drew McIntyre situation is different, though. If you take a look at Drew McIntyre's 2024, I don't think that it's close in terms of, at least if you are comparing male wrestlers in WWE, Drew McIntyre is the MVP. I don't think that anyone was even close to him. Respect to Cody, respect to Jay, respect to all these people. Drew McIntyre was by far the MVP. The best storyline, the best match, the most compelling promos, Drew McIntyre swept WWE.
And I really think he has really good in-ring ability. Like, he can wrestle.
So what does it look like his reward is going to be in 2025? Not starting off to a great start. And look, before I go through all of the possible frustrations that Drew McIntyre has, I just want to state, I have no idea if this is true. This could all absolutely be a work, but I think that this is just one of many reasons why Drew McIntyre deserves a lot better, and he seemingly is not receiving that at the moment. Now, let's get into this possible Drew McIntyre frustration here. So this first one is by PW Insider, and this is talking about how Drew McIntyre...
He returned to the back during the Royal Rumble. He was screaming and cursing that someone had to get their moves in.
At the Royal Rumble, he was cursing, he was screaming that somebody had to get their moves in at the expense of a number of storylines. So something went amiss with Drew McIntyre's planned elimination, which was to spark a storyline between him and Damian Priest for WrestleMania. When LA Knight backed up into Jey Uso, Priest, and McIntyre as they headed towards the spot. And there's this whole issue that possibly Drew McIntyre has with LA Knight. That's not the issue I have. My issue is this was to spark a feud between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Now,
do you guys even like that? Like, they're building that rivalry, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest?
This next report seems to go towards that as well. Now, this is by the Daily Mail. I just want to reiterate, no idea if this is true. This is not, Daily Mail is not known for the wrestling news. They're not known for the wrestling content. All right, so take this with a grain of salt. I think that this is just almost an alley-oop to what I want to talk about, but it says that Drew McIntyre is due for a program with Damian Priest heading into WrestleMania, about described by a source as a nothing match. Now, I have fuck all knowledge on what a nothing match is. I don't think that you can say it's a nothing match until you see how the feud plays out. Am I wrong? But McIntyre is of the opinion that he deserves a more prominent feud after the most successful year of his career in 2024. That part is what I want to talk about. That part is facts. Look, I have nothing against Damian Priest. I think Damian Priest is amazing, and
Yeah, Damian Priest he's actually a good in-ring competitor. Like, he really is. It's not really... It took a while for, people to actually see and understand Damian Priest. Because, he won the World Championship. It wasn't really a bad reign, but he's a good wrestler, I guess.
Really excited to see Damian Priest and Jacob Fatu face off. I have multiple problems of Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. One, we did this already. In the summer, we did this. Let's go through cage match here. So they had, obviously, Damian Priest took the title off of Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, right? They had a couple house tour matches for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay, so they're technically running this back. Okay.
Priest won against Jey Uso. and Drew as well. So then they go to Clash at the Castle. That is where CM Punk screws Drew McIntyre. And then we have Money in the Bank where Damian Priest defeats both Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. And then Drew McIntyre gets into the whole program with CM Punk. Okay. All of that happens. Have no idea why they are going back to Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. That was in... I have to do math there. Sorry. July. That was in July.
You just gotta see what they're trying to tell, what story they're trying to tell. What y'all think in the comments? Let me know.
And now we're already going back in February, going back to Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. This will seemingly happen on the SmackDown brand. I don't think that this helps either wrestler, to be honest, going into WrestleMania, especially if that's the WrestleMania match. And when you look at the landscape of the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship, Drew McIntyre doesn't make sense there. Damian Priest doesn't make sense there. Damian Priest made sense with somebody like Jacob Fatu. He could help elevate Jacob Fatu. That could help him a ton, right? Damian Priest has been booked like a monster. I don't think it's bad for him to eat a couple losses, you know what I mean? But against a guy that he had already feuded with just a couple months ago doesn't feel like a good reward for Damian Priest. It damn sure is not a good reward for Drew McIntyre, who busted his ass and was MVP of 2024. Drew deserves better. And look, I'm a massive Drew McIntyre fan, right? I think that he's phenomenal, and while I would love to see him in one of the main events of WrestleMania, I know that that's probably not going to happen, but that doesn't mean that he should just be in kind of a random feud with Damian Priest. And who knows, maybe it'll play out and it's going to be amazing. I absolutely, I hear the people that just go, just let it play out. But if we're coming back in a month and we're going through the same exact feud with no real build up to either person's character going forward, this was a myth.
We gotta advertisement, guys. So a minute ad? Nah.
Particularly, it's really frustrating to see a miss like that for Drew McIntyre when it's WrestleMania season. This reminds me of CM Punk back in, 2014 when he left. It was CM Punk was consistently getting told, hey, you need to put over this guy, and you need to put SummerSlam, we need you. Vince McMahon, CM Punk tells the story of Vince McMahon being like, we need you, Punk. And then he was like, cool, so who am I facing?
Okay, so guys, tell me if I'm wrong. So pretty much what he's saying is CM Punk also left because he had to keep putting people over and he was tired of losing.
And he's like, all right, you're going to do this program with Brock. And he's like, all right, so who's going over? He's like, well, Brock is. And then he was like, all right, who's showing up on Monday? Vince goes, well, you are. He goes, exactly. That's the problem. And no diss to these guys, right? John Cena will be likely in a main event, as he should, but right, John Cena, a part-timer, right? Cody Rhodes. Cody shows up usually every week. And then if the triple threat is real, then it will be Roman Reigns, barely shows up, CM Punk off and on, and then Seth Rollins, who's there.
So if that match actually happens at 41, who y'all got?
It's not like this is WWE's biggest problem, I think. I genuinely think that this is WWE's biggest problem is they are reverting back to using the more part-time talent, and they're also prioritizing the talent that is coming from a different company instead of the guys that are there week in and week out. And we are seeing somebody like Drew McIntyre be the fall guy. He's the guy that has to take it and have what is described as a nothing match, which I hope to God is not true. And I don't fully believe. But I've also noticed online, there's been this whole...
Would it be like a type of stipulation match for them?
Or We Want Drew movement that was trending the other day all over Twitter. And just it's just people pissed off. But I do think that this could end up being a big movement. I mean, when you look at it, shit has not went right since this. Since the Clash at the Castle match where Drew McIntyre was forced to fucking... Let me get... so that you guys can see that full image of him having to sing with Tyson Fury, which he said was the dumbest thing in existence, which it was. Drew's been in amazing feuds, and he's become champion for 5 seconds, but he hasn't been prioritized as one of their top guys, despite being...
It's definitely been a while since they gave him an opportunity, pushed him in a sense.
What I would think is probably the best character in WWE. It's very disheartening. What I was excited for Drew McIntyre's 2025 to be was the Bloodliner Hunter storyline. That sounded great to me, as he was going to go after Jimmy and Jay and Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. And yeah, he was going to go after everybody. He even told Solo, like, I'll lay off you for now, but then I'm going to come kick your ass. And I love that because he cost him at Clash, and he's going after every single person that cost him. And he was even giving like Punk props. He was like, I can at least respect that CM Punk's taking a bribe and getting a favor out of all of this. But like Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes, they're just teaming up with him, even though he made their life miserable. He seemed like the most nuanced character in wrestling. Seth kind
So is Sami Zayn still supposed to turn heel?
of has that now. But yeah, it's mind-boggling what they've done with Drew McIntyre so far in 2025. So if there is real frustration on Drew McIntyre's part, if that report ends up coming out as true, I totally understand it. I'm for it. I'm shocked the way that Drew McIntyre is treated. What I was hoping for is, even if he was moved to SmackDown, he was going to get to the Solo Sikoa story. He was going to get to that Jimmy Uso story. We had him like attack Jimmy Uso, but we didn't get a real feud out of him and Jim, right? Which I think would be great, even though I'm the biggest Jim supporter, and I know that Jim would take them lost.
Oh, giving Jimmy. Someone said Jimmy Uso for U.S. Championship.
I want to see that. I wanted to see way more out of the Drew McIntyre Jey Uso feud. Drew McIntyre just loses to Jey Uso, and I thought he was going to take all these losses because he was going to end up going to SmackDown. But you need him to almost kind of, for lack of a better term, take Jay's head. You know what I mean? Like, as the Bloodline Hunter, you got to get something against Jay, as you know, he can take out Jimmy, and then he can move his sights onto Solo, because Solo didn't get it done against Roman, so he takes out Solo. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns would have been phenomenal, and there's a perfect story there. Fine, you want to wait all the way to WrestleMania? Or, sorry, SummerSlam? Dope. I'm down for that, too. And it seemed...
Yeah, because they're probably going to do the Damian Priest and Drew thing first.
How is he going to do the Bloodline Hunter story with Damian Priest? Outside of maybe he's teaming up with Jacob Fatu, which could be fun and cool, but it's a little aggravating, and I do understand the fans' movements on the We Want Drew, and just fan frustration that Drew McIntyre is not receiving better. I really hope that he has a lot better WrestleMania match. No disrespect to Damian Priest, but I hope Damian Priest has something cooler. Because this is just, it's not even that it's like, it's not big enough, or the wrestlers that he's facing isn't big enough. It's just, it's not meaningful. And I remember Drew McIntyre said something recently that he was like, I don't care about championships. I care about meaningful stories. I don't know what more you tell in a 5-month break from Damian Priest, 6-month break. I think a fresh start. I think that's why Priest moved over to SmackDown, for a fresh start. No? Now, this will be very interesting as well, because Drew McIntyre is still on the Raw roster. Now, to be fair, WWE does really, really bad at updating.
Yeah, because he was talking like he wanted to leave the company.
This. AJ Styles got moved to Monday Night Raw. He's still on SmackDown. For the longest time, Rhea Ripley was tag team champion, women's champion. For the longest time, Liv Morgan was the champion, and Rhea Ripley still had the title belt on her with this. Does Liv? Okay, they changed it out for Liv. That's the figure. Or you can see this. JD, perfect example. Still has the tag title. The War Raiders don't have the tag title. Does Finn have the tag title? No. Okay, just JD. Perfect. Does Eric have the tag title? This is fucking crazy. This is fucking crazy to watch. Where the fuck is Eric? Do they not even have Eric on here? Does Eric spell his name differently? Is
that from War Raiders? Is that what he's talking about?
Eric's not even on here. All right, dude. You know what? Just fucking WWE.com sucks. Hire me to edit that shit, please. To me, they got two choices. They got two choices if they decide to do this Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest WrestleMania thing. It is that later they either have Drew McIntyre be the one to take the title off of Cody. I don't think that that's happening. Me personally, I think that's Randy, right? Maybe Cena, but I think...
Yeah, probably Cena, because that's the route they're going.
I think it's Randy. Or he has to retire John Cena, which I believe would be great. it doesn't go to the Bloodline Hunter story. This would have to be after the Bloodline Hunter. But Drew McIntyre retiring John Cena and kind of putting him as the number one heel in the company, and to some people, number one heel all time in their anger, would be.
Would you guys like to see Drew McIntyre retire Cena? I don't know if that would happen.
Pretty decent consolation prize to a, poorly built WrestleMania match. But maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe
The
Damian
only reason why I brought that up is because he brought it up. So
Priest and Drew McIntyre is going to be the best thing on TV. Who fucking knows? But yeah, so I absolutely believe that Drew McIntyre deserves a lot better. I'm hoping.
all right, that was Drew McIntyre deserves better. You guys tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming. Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment, and yeah, you're right. Out.